Okay. State your names for the camera, please.
My name is Griffin.
Marilena.
Your ages.
I'm 26.
I'm 27.
Okay. So, what does this lifestyle mean to you, Griffin?
Being vegetarian, it doesn't really mean too much to me. It's just, I don't really identify as being I don't identify as being part of a group or anything like that. It's just a consequence of me learning things, being more aware of how things are produced, and it's just a choice that I've made.
Okay, nice. How about you, Marina?
In my case, I don't identify either because I'm not 100% vegetarian. It just means being aware of what I'm eating. Maybe sometimes I feel like my body is asking me for meat, or I'm in a situation where it would be offensive to people to decline it, maybe to my grandmother. But overall, just being aware in my day-to-day life of what I'm eating and putting in my body and how it's affecting me and the environment and everyone.
Nice. Okay. What's your level of involvement in this lifestyle?
Well, I'd never eat meat, so I'm always
After you became, so in 5 years?
7 years. So for 7 years I haven't eaten meat. But beyond that, principle, I don't do extracurricular vegetarian activities or anything like that.
What is the nature of the introduction of this lifestyle? How do you got into it?
For me personally, it was my first year at college, and I just started considering things that I never thought about before, how meat gets to us and things like that, things that you kind of take for granted when you're younger. You don't really realize that these things need to be killed and brought to you and all this stuff. Yeah. So as I became more aware of environmental issues and things like that, I just realized I kind of have an issue with eating meat, so I'm just gonna stop.
That's good. That's nice. Do you think that this lifestyle sets you apart from other people that have another lifestyle?
In certain ways, because people want to ask questions about it because it's not the norm. And people who are vegetarian sometimes come together at events where there's maybe not much food for them or things like that. So there's a little bit of community, I guess. So that also, where it's
you have to take that when we go out to a restaurant, you have to look up before on Yelp the menu.
Yeah. So sometimes it's inconvenient and sometimes it annoys people. So maybe they want to eat somewhere and they don't have something.
One time we were gonna go with Pamela's parents to a French restaurant and there weren't really many options. And you guys were totally fine with changing, but it's for me it was awkward asking oh, can we actually not go there? So it's this situation that you have to it does affect, I feel relationships sometimes. I feel that it's not because there's always if you're an accommodating vegetarian person, you can just eat vegetables or bread or whatever, and I feel you are, and me too, because I'm not really, but it's just a matter of communication and just.
Absolutely. Are there levels or hierarchies within the lifestyle? Are there a difference between members of this lifestyle?
There are. I don't think it really means much, but there are different things that people subscribe to. Certain people will eat fish, and certain people will eat eggs or not eat eggs, and then there's vegans, which is kind of similar, but that's no animal products. But I don't think there's any real stigma behind any of those. It's just a scientific qualification
or preference.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's people that do eat bacon and mortadella. What was it
Yeah, some people just calling themselves vegetarian.
Yeah, I feel in New York, at least, it's really a cool thing to be vegetarian, or just you're elegant person almost. It's weird.
Yeah, I knew one person that said they were vegetarian except they eat bacon and
more to the
something else.
like is that the word in English?
I don't.
That's kind of weird, yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you find, is there a nature of a relationship with people that are within this lifestyle?
I think there's like kind of commonalities in like the problems that you might encounter, like what we just talked about, like going out to eat, maybe there's not options, or like certain things like that, just
Yeah.
just little things like that.
But also then it goes back to what you were saying, that sometimes you end up like gathering up with the people that are vegetarian because you go through similar thing or something, I don't know.
Do you subscribe to any magazines or networks or online via Facebook or Instagram about this lifestyle, about being vegetarian?
No, I don't.
I do follow like all these like moms on Instagram, in like it's moms literally that are like in Australia and some like in like the United States that they cook, but it's very hardcore because it's like paleo vegan, so it's just like making sweets with like dates and like nuts and things like that, so it's accommodating to like every restriction, just like kind of being healthy. And like I sometimes make them but sometimes not because it's too much work, but I just like to see these things. I don't know, it's weird.
Is it, did this lifestyle come to you guys as more a health conscious way, or just it wasn't quite? It was just because of animals and that circumstance.
I think it was primarily ethical, but the health thing was also part of it. And later on, like I researched more about like the health, because certain people will tell you like you need protein, you need to eat things like that, and I did more research into that, and there's just like a lot of benefits to being vegetarian in general. So
Yeah,
a lot
like,
of substitutes also.
like I just fell into it like really like by accident, kind of. Like I met Griffin and like I would just spend a lot of time with him, and like at the time I was actually eating kind of like more paleo almost, like just eating a lot of like meat to like lose weight or like not gain weight. And then like I started hanging out with him and eating bread all the time, and I was so scared like I'm gonna get so fat. And I started actually losing weight because we would eat a lot of vegetables. And then I'm like, oh okay, so I don't have to eat like this. And then I started to like find out more about it, and like just not like the animals or like also like your own health, but just like the amount of like water and resources that you need to like raise animals and how it like affects the planet. And then also like about like I think that I'm almost eating more protein now than before, because like every morning I do a shake with like hemp protein and all these things, and I'm always reading like the amount of protein things have. And it's like I didn't do that before, and like now I'm like really aware of like, okay, I have to eat all this like protein every day and blah blah blah. So it's really interesting. Like I feel that I almost eat more protein now than before, even though like I was telling you like I barely eat meat anymore. So it's kind of different.
Interesting. So thank you guys for being a part of this interview, and well, thank you.
no problem.